Well, welcome everybody to the Cleveland Stand Up for Religious Freedom Rally. We thank you all so much for coming out on this windy, cold, rainy day. I think we are definitely in a very historic time. So, and I'm so humbled to see so many faces here, old, young, in between. So just thank you again for being here with us.
You know, when I gave the opening prayer, I fell into my Christian tradition and ended it with an invocation to Jesus. But I was trying at the beginning to keep that prayer as general as I could, because this issue, religious liberty, isn't a Catholic issue. It's a Catholic situation that has sparked this, but this is an issue that cuts across all denominational lines.
My friends, we're gathered today as a people of many faiths, coming together as a faith community to protect one of our most sacred rights, the right to religious liberty. We're not here as Republicans, Democrats, Independents, Libertarians, not as Catholics, Baptists, Presbyterians, Anglicans, Jews, or Muslims. We are here because we are all Americans responding to a threat to our liberty. It was President John F. Kennedy who said, "The rights of man come not from the state, but from the hand of God." How right he was. The Obama administration, with its mandate for HHS and its rulemaking which followed, has put in place the biggest threat our rights to practice our faith according to our consciences that our country has ever faced, all in the name of affordable health care. Today at these rallies around the country, we are sending a message to this administration to remind them that the state's authority comes from the people, and the power of our officials cannot be greater than what we have rightfully given them. Our Constitution and our traditions guarantee us that the government has no power over the conscience of the people. Our fundamental right to practice our faith is being threatened in a very real and blatant and capricious manner. We cannot stand by and watch this happen. So today, while we may have many differences among us relative to our beliefs and practices as people of God, the very reason that we are able to gather with our differences is because our founding fathers ratified in our Constitution what God had already granted us. We are then together unified in our religious liberty.
It shows how evil can triumph over a nation if it is done gradually and no one takes the time to respond. In 1932, there was a man with a funny-looking mustache. He was seen in many parts of Germany and Austria campaigning to be the leader of a nation. He talked about the Jewish menace. Many people thought that he was goofy and they paid little attention to him. No one did anything. As time went on, this man formed a political party, the Nazi Party. He encouraged them to denigrate the Jewish people, and they listened to him, but no one did anything. This man then came to power. He began to persecute the Jewish people. He would not allow them to teach in the universities or to practice their professions. He even forced them to leave the country. No one did anything. One night, the persecution went a step further. Jewish businesses were vandalized. No one did anything. Next came the deportation of the Jewish people to concentration camps for slave labor. No one did anything. Finally, the final solution took place. Over 6 million Jewish people were murdered. Now it was too late to do anything. Now the federal government has given a mandate that the Catholic Church must act against some of its religious tenets. Will anyone do anything?
Yes!
The government mandate concerns the freedom of religion in America. It is our job as a religious people to stand up for this freedom of religion and do something. I'm asking all of you, as you are here today, please get involved and let us learn the lesson from history before it's too late. Thank you.
Good afternoon and welcome to our rally for religious freedom. I was really honored that Molly Smith asked me to speak today. I am Beverly Goldstein. I'm 64 years old and I am an exhausted political activist. I'm a first-generation Jewish American citizen. Both of my parents were born in Czechoslovakia. My dad came here by himself when he was 12 years old, and during the war my dad fought in Europe as an American soldier. My mom was in Auschwitz, a Nazi death camp, and she was in 3 other camps, and she survived. She came to America on a war bride ship, having married my dad in Germany after the war. She was a legal immigrant until she became a citizen. My mom came face to face with Dr. Joseph Mengele because she had a breast infection, and she was in the infirmary. He was referred to as the angel of death. My mom had to pass selection to live every day while she was in the infirmary until she was healthy enough to return to the main slave camp. These were the times of ultimate elimination of a religious freedom. I believe that the current Obama administration's assault on religious freedom is again creating exceptionally scary times.
Amen. Yeah.
We've learned by experience that when dangerous people say they're going to kill you, they kill you. Before killing people, religious rights are taken away. Then comes the use of demeaning and derogatory language about your religious group. And before you know it, your people have stopped being human beings and have become worthless, so killing you is not a really big deal. This is exactly what happened in Germany from the time of 1933 to 1945. Just like me, all American Jews should be shocked and frightened about the government's religious assault on the Catholic Church's positions on life. Through the centuries, Jews have usually been the first to be marginalized and forced to follow behaviors that are contrary to our religion. So this time, Catholics' beliefs and practices are being singled out and challenged first, before Jews. Very unusual, but Jews are usually next. As a politically conservative religious Jewish person who is not part of the ultra-religious Jewish community of Cleveland, I stand apart with my husband Michael from progressive socialist-focused liberal Jewish community to stand with Christians who find their religious freedom under direct assault. There was quite a method to his madness when Barack Obama appointed Secretary Kathleen Sebelius, a super-liberal Catholic woman, to head HHS. Sebelius and David Axelrod are 2 peas in a pod. As a Jewish man, Axelrod has been standing by while Barack Hussein Obama seriously erodes the U.S.-Israel relationship and puts Israel in enormous danger. As Americans, we will not become safe again until Obama is removed from office and his entire team of anti-God progressives just become awful history of the early 21st century. Thank you for including a Jewish woman on your program today to be voices together against the assault on religious freedom.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the comments, and thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being here today. You know, the people that you see around you are here for one reason, to see that we return righteousness to the Oval Office and in our nation.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, Now listen to this. We typically stop there, and that's good, but let me go on just a little further. It says that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That's you and I. America will not change by merely passing laws or getting the right man or woman in office. America will change when the church does its job. America will change when serving Christ and obeying God, when that is our all-consuming passion.
Take it away. And, you know, so much as we would look at the government and say the government's the problem, I do believe what another speaker had shared how that there's a lot of responsibility to us as the church. And if we're...
One has to ask, how did this happen? It happened because we let it happen. We're all culpable, some more than others, but we all have had a role to play in this current state of affairs. Most of us have no idea, as Beverly was speaking about, being stripped of complete religious freedom or freedom itself. Most of us have no idea what that really means, but our founders did. Our founding fathers were greatly influenced by the pastors of their time. Recently, some of you may have heard of Pulpit Freedom Sunday. On October 7th, there were about 1,500 pastors across the country who openly spoke out on politics and social issues of our day. They recorded their sermons, and then they sent them to the IRS. And what they're specifically trying to do is challenge the 1954 Johnson Amendment. This has been construed to limit the free speech of churches and other tax-exempt organizations like 501c3s. Well, this amendment is unconstitutional. And these priests and pastors, they want to have this case brought to court to prove that it's unconstitutional and free them from the shackles that the church has oftentimes imposed on itself from speaking out freely. This year at Cleveland Right to Life's Bringing America Back to Life Symposium, we had Father Robert Sirico speak, and one of the things that he said has really stuck with me. And he used the phrase, if you drink the king's wine, you sing the king's tune. So my question for our clerical leaders today is, how long will we allow our churches to sit at the king's table and sing his tune? Whether we win this election or not, in the way that we want to see it turn out, whether Mitt Romney, who is just a man, wins or not, we are still going to be fighting this incrementalism of cultural and moral decay unless we actively fight it. And so we need bold leaders like Charles Finney, and I'll leave you with this today. He was a leader of the Second Great Awakening in America, and what he said was, "Brethren, our preaching will bear its legitimate fruits. If immorality prevails in the land, the fault is ours in a great degree. If there is a decay of conscience, the pulpit is responsible for it. If the public press lacks moral discrimination, the pulpit is responsible for it. If the church is degenerate and worldly, the pulpit is responsible for it. If the world loses its interest in religion, the pulpit is responsible for it. If Satan rules in our halls of legislation, the pulpit is responsible for it. If our politics become so corrupt that the very foundations of our government are ready to fall away, the pulpit is responsible for it. Let us not ignore this fact, dear brethren, but let us lay it to heart and be thoroughly awake to our responsibility in respect to the morals of this nation." Thank you.